Hello everyone, Warangel here, and welcome back to the Caliphate of Araby campaign. Now, we're starting today's episode off with a rather weird battle, because if you remember, at the end of the last episode, we had Rapans de Lyonesse laying siege to my capital of Al-Hag. Now, as I was moving Jaffar and his army to come and deal with her, she decided to push the siege and start a battle. Now, the weird thing is, if you look in front of us, we've got, 6 siege towers built. Yet her army, composed of herself, and a unit of Knights of the Realm, I believe, and a unit of Knight Errants. In fact, we'll hover over here so you can see better. Meaning it's going to be very, very difficult for them to actually use the siege towers. Now, while I did that, they also had a unit of trebuchet back here, but given its location behind all of these siege towers, it wasn't actually able to do much for the entire battle. In fact, I forgot all about it, until some point later on. Now, they did bring some reinforcements, including their 1 unit of infantry here, the men-at-arms, and also their prophetess, whose name I cannot remember for the life of me, but she is currently leading them, and more cavalry. So, the battle was very weird, like I said. What it mainly composed of is, if I speed things up a bit, having the cavalry running up to my gates. What I've done, as you can see, is put all my archers up on the walls here. I've put the spearmen behind the gate, with my cavalry over here on the other gate, and I've tried to spread out some of the infantry around the place, just because I didn't know where they were going to attack with their own infantry. But what happened then is that, as you can see, they bring a unit forward to attack the gate. It can't do much damage because they're not designed to do that. While they're waiting for that knight's unit to try and batter down the gates, I'm peppering this other knight's unit with my archers and towers. We're wearing them down nice and slow. It's a good thing as well that they did take some damage before coming into combat. So this is a pretty easy fight. I'm trying to deliberately ignore attacking Rapans because I would like to try and get her trait for defeating her in combat with Sultan Jaffar. And if I eliminate her in this fight, we're not going to get that. So, as you can see though, we managed to eliminate this army, and I've opened up the gates in order to bring my spearmen out. We can go and do some damage, especially given the fact that spearmen are good against cavalry. But I'm not going to leave the gate. I'm just going to let them do this, run off eventually. And as they run away, my men just pull up to the gate, and then we're just going to go back in a minute and close the gate behind us. Now, while all this is happening, you can see their prophetess has arrived, and their reinforcements are starting to come in. The cavalry are all setting up over here as well, the trebuchet continuing to do what it's just been doing. And at this point, 3 giant ladders come out of the ground in order for their one character to make her way up. Now, surprisingly, despite the fact that she is a wizard, she did alright in combat. We'll see a bit later some of the more acrobatic maneuvers I've seen her do, which, to be honest, in her dress, I wouldn't want to do. But while they're doing that, and the men-at-arms are coming up to attack the wall there, we've been doing the same thing here. We've eliminated 1 unit of knights, the other one has come from the reinforcements. We are killing these off. In a minute, we're going to be opening up the gate once more to go after this one with our spearmen. And while they're doing that, up on the wall, the prophetess is coming to attack my warriors, who are actually losing. I want to see if she does show off some of the more acrobatic maneuvers that I've seen her do. So let me just do this quick and wait and see. I mean, she's already killing off quite a few of my men. That's a bit worrying, considering that she is simply a magic user, but I suppose she is the chosen of the lady, and there you go. Did you see that? A somersault onto a guy's shoulders, and basically stabbed him, and it was flipped off it. I wouldn't want to do that in a dress, and she's a lot more acrobatic than she gave the appearance of, eh? But while that's going on over here then, we've got my Shaka slaves basically hanging on in there fighting the men-at-arms. Now, if you hover over the 2, you can see that their men-at-arms, which typically are very crap units, are still better than my slaves. But the job is really just to hold them in place, bring in the other units I've got scattered around the walls. And so we are going to soon outnumber them by quite a large margin. Now, despite the prophetess's combat abilities, you can see that she's already starting to waver, and a lot of her health is already gone, which is fantastic. when that's happening, we're still continuing to slaughter the knight-errants here, as well as the ones that are coming up to the gates. We're just opening it up every so often, kill them off, let them run off, come back inside. Now, I did start moving, I believe, my knights. Oh, no, I didn't. Not yet. But I went to try and actually get them to go and attack the trebuchets, because eventually I realised, oh yeah, we've got trebuchets to deal with. But while that's happening, the prophetess has broken. We've got our the men-at-arms fighting away. They've done a fair number on my slaves here. But we've got more reinforcements coming in, and now with the Araby warriors coming in, it's going to be a pretty easy fight eventually. We're just taking their time to eliminate them. Whereas back over here, just to remind you what's going on, we've now eliminated another knight's unit, only a few survivors making their way off into the distance. Now, again, the gates open, more deaths for the knights because of my spearmen. And one of my bowmen actually cocked things up. We could have got away with having much less kills from our own units if it wasn't for the fact that, as you saw in the pop-up, one of my bowmen actually used up all their arrows. And that's going to be a bit relevant later. Now, while that's happening, the enemy lord now has been killed, that prophetess leading the reinforcement army. My knights are about to come in, and I think I must have gone in my head to try and actually come and attack there then. But this army unit decided to charge through there, and so did the other one eventually. So I do pull them back, especially when this happens, because I didn't want them to come out and fight. I'd rather just let them die through arrow fire if we can avoid it. So I pull them back, they start setting up behind there. Rapans now actually charges in with her two-handed sword and her remaining knights. Not much that she can do. I find it funny, but I do find it a laugh as well, that even though the gates are wide open, and like in previous Total War games, if the gates are open, you can march in. But in Warhammer 2, and even Warhammer 1, that's not the case. The gates can be wide open, but until they bash those gates down, they can't get through. I mean, unless a bug appears, when they just sort of teleport through or push their way through the gate itself. But the gates open once more. Our knights, spearmen, are finishing off their knights. And I believe at this point, Rapans actually starts making her way over to attack. I did spy her, and I thought, you know what, we could take the opportunity now to attack her directly. And you can see I've given them the attack order. But she activates her ability. Was it the Halo of the Lady? I can't remember for the life of me, but she goes in, now is already causing a few casualties, so I decided at this point, nah, let's just pull them in. We don't want to kill her after all. Now, while that's happening, we've got our slaves now running away, the ones who have taken quite a battering from those men-at-arms. But the men-at-arms are starting to waver too. It's not going to be too long until they retreat, so they're just hanging on in there without one point of leadership. Now, as that's happening then, we've got my knights back here, and I decided rather than push them through Rapans, we're going to take the side exit, so we can go after the trebuchet in the back. Now, they still haven't attacked us yet, because of those things, but in fact, they must have just got into position now, because now they've decided to do their first shot of the entire battle. But there's not really much left for us. My units are starting to fire on them back here. Rapans is just standing around here. She's now going after those bowmen I said about, because I didn't realise they decided to attack her in combat instead of just staying on the walls. So she managed to get a couple more kills from that, but we pull them back in. She can't attack. She can just probably look at all of these spearmen just like laughing at her, thinking, nah, you can't get us. But while she's busy there, our knights are charging out. They're going to go after the last remaining trebuchets and manage to get a couple of kills in there. Just one man, though, I should say. Just one man, bloodied, with his horse continuing marching for some time. At this point now, victory is now within our grasp. We're just going to finish off the trebuchet. Minus 94 leadership, so they have shattered. And then, so has Rapans at this point. Now, I decided to continue the battle just long enough then to kill off the last of the trebuchet, as well as the men-at-arms on the walls. Rapans is going to make it out of here injured, but otherwise alive. And we'll be finishing her off then once we get back to the campaign map. So we're here quick to replay at this point. Ignore that. It actually comes out as a heroic victory. And you can see for yourself that that should have been the case. But let's go back to the campaign map and finish off our enemy once and for all. So then guys, here we go. As you can see, the only survivor of that assault was actually Rapin's de Lyonesse, and leaves us now, hopefully, in a good position to finish her off with Sultan Jaffar when it comes back to our turn. Now, what do we have as options? Not much. I'm going to go for the little bit of extra cash. And she has gone off, unfortunately, away from Jaffar. But that's okay, we can manage that, because we'll be able to attack it probably this turn. Let's slow things down again, just in case something pops up. You never know, you never know. In fact, here we go, tributes. So we can either pay the 1,000 gold, which we do have a fair bit now, in order to get +4 public order. That I think is actually worth it. Sure, we'll do that. My +1, fine. Let's go on to Jaffar. Can we reach her? I don't think we can we? Damn it. No matter, we'll just continue marching along and hopefully we'll catch up with her sooner rather than later. Especially if we're heading over towards Kofa anyway. So, you will go over there. My agents will follow up behind. Unfortunately, I don't think neither of my agents can actually mobilize armies. No. Instead, Nadim has the voice of the Green Knight, if I recognize it right. Yeah, let's get you continuing over to Kofa. You can damage some walls, build up some experience. Saif Baba, let's give you to do... Go and get some experience by going after this army here. Why are you doing that? We'll go back to our hack a minute, because it was suggested to me in the comments of the last episode. Instead of going for the caravan stop, I mean, it will give us access to Cephales and stuff like that later, but it might be more worthwhile just to go for the caravan stop here, rather than this caravan stop. Because this one will give us access to, as you can see, to things like camel lancers. Eventually we'll be able to hire ourselves Arabian ogres, we'll be able to get a giant with a cool hat. Yeah, I think this could be interesting to check out. So sure, we'll go and try that one. It's actually cheaper as well, so that's safe to submit a cash. And it'll take one turn. I will request this one to be built, the Royal Palace Barracks, so we get our hands on Arabian Guard eventually. So we'll get that. We've got the Caspar done, so we can actually recruit said guards. Ah, and it actually allows me to recruit more units in one go. That'd be good. No. Right. Let's do points. Baba, let's give you now Sword Garrison and Wounds. Oh no, I'll tell you what actually. Let's go for Wound and Spread Public Order, just to help out a little bit while he's in my lands. And then what I think we're going to do is we might just pop in to show you when I've beaten her in combat, but I think we can skip forward until we're actually in position to attack Kofa. So see you guys in a bit. So guys, here we are a couple of turns later, and as you can see, we're within marching range of Kofa. Now, they've only got one defender apart from the garrison, and that is Rapins herself, although she is currently recruiting, so we're going to be getting rid of her before she can get any more units. So let's switch over to that, go and attack Kofa, and... You know what? I'm just going to hit the order result for this. Our replenishment is good enough, especially being that we're still in our home province, that we'll easily get the numbers back in a turn or two. And yeah, I just want to get rid of these guys by this point, to be honest. So, let's go ahead and just occupy it. Picked up Glittering Scales, so that's handy. Coast of Araby is now ours. And finally, ooh. I think it's been some time since I actually beat her in combat, so... I didn't realise how good these bonuses are. I mean, the horde growth isn't exactly a big deal since we don't have a horde, but the growth for all provinces of +5, that's going to build up over time. Plus that extra research rates and bonus is going to be useful too. And while we have eliminated at this point pretty much all the Bretonnian factions, I think there's one more, isn't it? The Knights of the Flame. That we may have to go up with, so that's not going to be as useful on the Vortex map, and you never know. In the meantime, let's continue that, and let's have a quick look at Kofa. So we have a landmark building, the Kofa Docks. The blood-stained history of repeated errantry wars centers around the docks of Kofa, where countless invasions into these lands have begun. So we managed to get some trade resource with sandstone, some extra growth for the province, and some income. So for once, after quite some time, we're actually now in positive income. That's been quite a long time, hasn't it? Not only that, we've got a shisha den, so we could recruit another nomad if we wanted, but to be honest, I think we'll be okay. Let's just demolish that, and we'll have a look to see what we can get instead. Now, I'm also upgrading our hack. We managed to get enough income from attacks and that to basically upgrade it to the next tier, so we can see what we can get for this one. Now, have we unlocked anything new yet? Ooh. Mad Mullah Aklan's Deaf Jezels. Good range, armor piercing. I think I'm actually gonna get rid of my Jezels. I like the bowmen, because they're useful to actually have to be able to shoot over my units and that, but that could come in handy too. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to checking that out. And like I said with the replenishment, you can see here, we're going to be basically up to fighting strength within the next turn or two. So, we'll leave that. Now, Jaffar. Can't quite get the Black Book yet. When do we get that? Oh, next level. Okay. Alright, Serpent Guard. Will Jaffar. No land shall remain beyond my grasp. No kingdom shall be beyond my mandate. Go forth. Conquer. Rule. Ooh. Is that a constant ability? No, it just says 55 minutes. Immune to psychology. I mean, that would be quite nice. Or do we want to go for Serpent Guards? Improve the Arabian Guard when we actually get our hands on them. Yeah, I mean, our upkeep is going to be quite useful too. And how long have we got left until we can recruit them? One more turn. Lashik. Knights of the Flame, okay, so we need to go after you next. Because this is going to be our next target. We'll go after the Sorcerer Isles, which is owned by the Leech King's Legion. The new name for the mod I'm using, which is basically for Ark in the Black. The Knights of the Flame, and then... Who's got... Ah, you've got the Wizard Khalif's Palace as well. Okay. I'm interested to see what the landmark building is for Araby here. I don't know if we get one here or here. It doesn't look like it. But let me check the diplomacy screen quickly. 61. Excuse me, I don't want to listen to you when you're about to die. Yeah, you've only got the one. Oh, the Grudgebringers are still around. I thought they would have died off by now. That's pretty good going, I must say. Ah, you're about to die and you're about to die. Okay. These should be some easy conquest then, but what we'll do is go after Lashik, Sorcerer's Islands, and then continue down for the Wizard Khalif's Palace and hopefully eliminate all of them. So we'll let that happen. We'll let these guys do a suicide charge on Kofa too. Now, as for a commandment... Extra taxes would be nice. Public order would be quite nice. Especially if it... Got anything for... Nomad Outpost. Why do we have so much corruption still? Local population events. Oh, right, yeah, because I had the event a while back. You know the one that pops up where, like, a dark emissary has arrived and offered you a whole bunch of cash? I decided to go for that because for us, with Araby, it doesn't matter that much with Chaos Corruptions, with the fact that we can recruit Chaos units eventually. So I figured, yeah, it seems in character. But for the moment, let's try and see if I get maybe a little bit of extra cash. I mean, it's only 5%. No, let's go for growth and public order. Right. I'll skip forward a bit more now until we're in a position to go after Lashik. Or not. Zandri have just risen up against us. And we're going to have to go all the way back in order to deal with those. We'll check it out in a minute. Alright, let's check out this incursion, see what we're dealing with. Zandri. Ah, okay. Peter the Stasher has risen up an army of Vampire Coast. Okay. what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to demolish the building here for the Shisha Den and build defenses here. I mean, with Xandria, I'm not particularly fussed about it right now. If we lose it, we lose it. If we keep it, we keep it. As long as we keep our main central province, I'll be happy. So, while we do that, let's have a quick look-see. Go for a clay pit, get a bit more income. Defenses are always good. Go for slave traders for extra income. Extra growth would be nice. Or we can go for the roads. Extra growth campaign movement and 8% income from all buildings in the province. Take it. And also, we can now get our hands on Arabian Guard. Fantastic. Right. With that, let's head down here. Kill off the last of the Chevaliers. Not going to even make anything from this, really. Give 3% replenishment from doing that. Sure. Our faction has been destroyed. We picked up a Talisman of Protection and a Coachman.
Yes.
Right. I would like to swap out a couple of units. So while these guys are pretty good, let me get rid of you. Let's move you. How are we going to attack here? Along here, right. Lashik belongs there, Kofi's here. Alright, let's just move him to here, so we're not taking attrition while we do this. And have a look. Arabian Guard take 3 turns. Bloody hell. Okay, maybe not go for it now then. And if we do, we need to replace our spearmen with them instead. Although now we can get our hands on camel lancers and the Bedouin scouts. So horse archers, or anti-large capable troops. I think we'll be okay for now. I will instead recruit another unit of these guys. We'll get our hands on the Black Book of Ibn Nagazar. So as you can see, Ibn Nagazar was a brilliant, if somewhat maniacal Arabian sorcerer. Whilst it is unknown whether his madness sprang from isolation, too many attempts at creating intoxicating elixirs, or the honeyed promises of whispered demons, there can be no doubt he was utterly insane. So not only does this give us the ability to increase our power reserve and our power recharge rate, it allows us to summon the Unchained, I guess that's supposed to be Ifrit, so it should be Ifrit. Yeah, so that's basically a fire demon, or fire Jinn. That's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, you can see at the bottom, the Jinn was given into the burning power of Akashai, which is the wind of fire. Although those that burn so bright do not burn long. Okay, sounds like a plan. We'll take the book. Right. Naimi will continue building up your melee defense. It's becoming into quite the combat fighter right now. As for you, I will continue increasing up now Curse of the Jinn now that we've got magical reserves. Once we've done this, we'll go for Earthin, Arcane Conduits, or maybe skip Arcane Conduits so we can get our hands on Immortality, because we're quite close to that. Right. We'll attack Lashik in the following turn. Once we get... Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, we're not done yet.
It is time.
Right then. Xandria... Right. Ooh, we finished off the Liber Mortis. So not only does this give me extra casualty replenishment, but when we can eventually recruit necromancers, we're going to start off with quite a few levels behind them already. All we need to do is actually find out how to recruit necromancers. Now I reckon, personally, the answer may lie in the Wizard Caliph's palace, but we'll have to get down there first in order to find out. Now, during the intern phase, Arkan the Black has marched his army up, and unfortunately I can't see any Bretonnian armies for the Knights of the Flame. So it might be in my best interest to actually go after Arkan the Black. But what we'll do first of all, let's move into the settlements. Now I can't remember how much do we need. I think it's 50%, isn't it? If we want to do raiding? Yeah, 50% raiding. So that's going to give us an extra 190 as well as a few slaves. Always handy to have slaves. Alright, we'll do Saif Baba. I'll keep you near here so you can keep an eye on what's going on at the Sorcerer's Islands. I mean, they are, as you can see, recruiting a whole new army, so we may want to go after that pretty soon. And then if I grab you and move you down here, we can see what's happening down in the Caliph's Palace. Oh, they do have units. Not much, but they have units. There's tier 3 settlements, and they've only got a building slot to rally field. Oh, Christ. Okay, that's a bit better. A tavern. A fishing harbour. I mean, on the other hand, it's not like they can recruit a lot, apart from maybe more and more of carrion. Yeah, I'll see what happens with Arkan in the following turn, and then we'll go to make a decision from there. But now that we've pretty much finished here, I'm not going to bother going for these just yet. Although, having that extra missile damage... Nah, let's have a look what's up here. Leadership. Extra bonuses there. Tribal rights. Study the divine. Is anything over here? Water clock. Ooh, a 6% industry bonus and research rate. Take it. Ooh, even better. Plus 10 leadership when fighting against Tomb Kings, which we're going to be doing pretty soon. And the extra bonus to research rates. Definitely take that. And now, if I pop back quickly to Kofa. Everything's fine here. Next turn, our hack will finish upgrading. But as for you... Oh, hang on, what's that? The Nehekaran Excavation. We get 6 chests of golden idols, a 5%... Whoa, wow. A chance to uncover an item. I had no idea about this. That's so cool. And what's this one? The excavation of Amenetetum's pyramid. The ancient crypt is one of the greatest rulers in ancient Nehekara. Of the fate lies beneath this pyramid, filled with untold wealth. Dig, boys! Grab a pick, shove in a shovel, and let's take everything we can. Not like these bone rags need it. I mean, we are going to go to war against them eventually, so that could be a pretty nice bonus, and certainly that as well. That's 2 cool buildings. And it's not like I really want the clay pit. But that's for the moment to go and get our defenses up. We'll come back to that. I didn't realize we can recruit those buildings. That's so cool. Alright, let's have a see now anyway what Arkan the Black is going to do. Okay, so he is actually laying siege to Lashik. Now, what's the garrison like here? It's actually that good. I mean, I reckon he can easily win that. I feel tempted to intervene a bit. Let's have a look here. I mean, these guys can all recruit, and then they're also going to have nothing but men-at-arms, because we already saw that's the only recruitment building they have available here at the Caliph's Palace. Yeah, what we're going to do then, we are going to go and attack Arkan the Black now, take him out and take Lashik, or at least start laying siege to it. We'll swing over into the Sorcerer's Islands, take that, and eliminate Arkan the Black's faction. Push down and to go for the palace. Yeah, I think this is a plan. I think this is a good plan. Or even better. Wait. Let's go down and get the Wizard's Caliph's Palace now. The reason being is that a tier 3 main building for a minor settlement for the Tomb Kings does not provide a wall, whereas it does for the Bretonnians. So if I let him waste his troops going after them and fighting the battle, he can keep them nice and pinned up there so we can focus our attention down south. Yeah, I'm liking that idea. Let's move you guys. Let's get you right up close and personal. Why not? Just make sure we're not going to be taking any attrition in the area here. Oh yeah, that's fine. Now the question is, do we want to attack the garrison?
Valiant lord.
Nah, to be honest, I would like to actually try and take them out. Side the settlements. That way then we can take advantage of our core units as well as our artillery in that much more effectively. The only thing we'll have to be a bit careful about is the fact that they will be able to... Unless... Yeah, I know what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do. We'll keep you nearby. I'm going to actually get you to do some experience by going after this army. Perfect. And over here, we can now upgrade fires if we wanted. And we can go for the next building here. Go for a Shisha Den will allow us to eventually upgrade and give us +8 public order. That would be handy. Or we can start eventually again the Sorcerer's Zawiya. Untainted +6. We can get our hands on dervishes as well as more sorcerers. And eventually these guys, genies, the Kimar al-Nar. But we don't have the money. Public order is pretty stable right now. Now let's go for a nice quick cheap Shisha Den. And then Barber can continue and then get me public order and going after units. So Peter the Stasher has come to attack Zandri. He's got some scurvy dogs, he's got some gunnery mobs with handguns, some normal gunnery mob, unbloated corpse, and the balance bar is not in my favour. Well, I think we can do okay in this fight. We'll have to be a bit careful about Peter himself, but the rest of the zombies, I think we could be okay. We'll just have to be careful as well for the bloated corpse as well. Yeah, let's fight the battle. See how we do. Welcome everyone to the Battle of Zandri. Now as you can see, the garrison has taken a defensive position outside the town that you can see in the distance. Instead deciding to take a small narrow inlet, I guess you can say, where the ocean is on either side, allowing us to be able to defend without damaging the town itself. Now what I've decided to do, if I pop onto here, is take a fairly defensive formation. We've put spearmen on the flanks, swordsmen in the centre, including my general, and I've put the Sharka slaves behind them. Now, we're going to be using these Sharka slaves a bit differently later on, but while we're waiting for the zombie horde to come towards us, we've also got bowmen on the rear there, as well as on our right flank, ready to fire at them as they come across the bridge. And I'm moving my Araby knights in order to try and get in a position to be able to outflank the enemy when they actually charge my front line. So they're getting into position just over here, where my cursor is, and the horde is making their way towards us. Now they've gone for a pretty standard formation themselves. Lots of gunnery mob here in the front. They've got their scurvy dogs in the rear line, as well as their deckhand mobs and another gunnery mob in the back. Peter the Stasher happens to be right at the back, making sure that his minions take the brunt, I should say, off the charge. And we got the bloated corpse. Now I realised early on in this battle that, to be honest, it's going to be very difficult for us to eliminate the bloated corpse in the fight before it gets to us. So what I decided to do is try and decide where it's going to attack, hoping that it was going to attack more of the enemy units than they were mine, but had mixed results, as you'll see shortly. But anyway, the horde again closer and closer. My troops are waiting there patiently in position, and my knights are now ready to charge into the rear and to the flank of the enemy. Now bearing in mind they are undead, so we're not going to be able to do any morale debuffs or force them to retreat. We have to kill every single one of them where they stand. So hopefully it will go okay. Now at this point, my bowmen on the right flank are starting to do some damage against the gunnery mob here. Already doing a nice bit of damage, already knocked down 10 of them, and their numbers are dwindling quite quickly. But that's not going to be enough. You can see the horde are getting ever closer. And then I remembered, of course, that the Vampire Coast have lots of units that can shoot. And I figured I'm not going to let my troops stand around and get shot to death before they actually get into melee. So while my bowmen are busy firing away, I started moving my Shaka slaves then into position to come and attack them first. What I was hoping to happen was that they will focus their fire, instead of going after my Araby warriors and spearmen, to instead go after the slaves. I really don't care for them. So letting them charge through my line, they're getting shot at, taking a bit of damage, but not all that much. The scurvy dogs there have managed to come over here and stop my charge on with this unit here. And the other one is kind of running around, it's not really sure what to do. But it's not stopping me from charging in. Peter is casting a spell now on the gunnery mob here. And I'm bringing in my knights to go after the gunnery mob with handguns. It's taken a little while, they're going to stand for quite some time, and to show you how ineffective the slaves can be, we've already got warriors fleeing from the combat. Now at this point though, we've got spearmen coming in, we've got my warriors charging in as well, holding up the front line. These scurvy dogs are not that match for them, but already I've got nearly 2 full units of Shaka slaves, taking some casualties, but not that much. Yet they're already retreating off the map, which isn't ideal, as you can imagine. But now that we've engaged them in melee, the zombies are not that good. You can see over here, for example, as we get close to the action with the zombie deckhands here, that while they do have some abilities, they're just not that good. And my spearmen are going to be more than capable of taking them on. They do have fire support though coming in from the gunnery mob here, which have been upgraded with spiteful shots, increasing their accuracy dramatically, as well as them giving them magical damage. But they're firing into the melee, meaning that they're going to be doing as much damage to us as to them. This one's taking a bit more damage. This is the one that's been charged out with my knights, of which you can see now coming over here to try and engage some more troops. The scurvy dogs have come in to try and attack, but they are starting to disintegrate because of the low morale. Another unit of spearmen now has been retreated, being chased again by the dogs, but luckily crumbling is kicking in. And my other unit now is blocking off the unit of gunnery mob, but unfortunately Peter has decided to get involved. And, well, I say that, and he's now run away from the combat. Way to make me look like a liar, Peter. But my knights are pulling back now, they're starting to really take a hit. You can see they're about to waver and then start retreating. My other warriors have started to rally, so luckily for me the spearmen are going to be able to come back in. But at this point, the battle is pretty much in the bag. A lot of the enemy units are already starting to disintegrate, like you can see here with the gunnery mob, as well as over here with the scurvy dogs. The only one pretty much standing at this point is going to be Peter the Stasher, as well as the units over here of the gunnery mobs that again have been upgraded with spiteful shots. Now to take the advantage now, I basically order all my units to try and eliminate the enemy units first before focusing all of our attention on Peter. So this unit back here, you can see I've got charged with my Shaka slaves in the front, my knights coming in from the rear, and the unit is going down very, very quickly. Between the 2 units and the spearmen coming in over here now, that's going to go down like nothing. Likewise over here, the gunnery mob is being charged by all my units, being with knights now coming in thanks to them deciding to reform. But with those units eliminated, really, it's going to be the main issue and probably the hardest enemy to face in the entire enemy force. And that is Peter the Stasher, you can see right here with his polearm. He is just surrounded by my forces. We've got the slaves nearby, we've got my warriors, spearmen, and they're all just trying to charge in and do what they can. Right, but even my knights are coming in. But this is a vampire, don't forget. Vampires are deadly. And with his polearm, he's going to be quite effective against my knights. So I'm trying to keep an eye on the combat, hoping that my troops can kill him before he runs away. But it's going to take some time before we actually whittle his health down enough for us to be able to win the fight. So, about a minute and a half later now, we've got into the position now where we can finally kill him off. It's taken a bit of time, and he's still hanging on in at 46 health, but with our final little bit of disintegration, he has been defeated, and the battle is ours. Now you can just see all the bodies just so scattered all around the place. It has been a vicious fight, but it is a close victory for us. Personally, I disagree, but you'll see as we get back to the campaign map that it could have been a bit better in terms of the level that the game has given us. You know what I'm talking about. I blame being tired at this point, so let's go back to the campaign map, okay? So, close victory, although personally, I disagree with that. The most important thing is though, not only did we get rid of the uprising, but we also managed to get our hands on 2,000 gold. I'm quite happy with that. We will go and pardon the captives and allow them to return to the grave, I guess? Because technically they're in their homeland, right here in Zandri. But, with that victory, we'll pop through all of these, and I think we will end things here for today. So next episode, we will be going either after Ark and the Black's forces, or the Knights of the Flame over here. Now, if we do go after the Knights of the Flame, what I am thinking is actually going and attacking this small army outside, and draw out the garrison and the army inside. Because bear in mind, my army, I reckon, is much superior to their men-at-arms. So I think we will have the advantage if we did that. Otherwise, the other option is to actually fight and assault the garrison straight away. They have been able to now recruit men-at-arms and polearms, I see. Right. Oh, no, actually. You know what? The garrison is not that big, is it? Yeah, the only issue we'd be dealing with, really, is this army. And even then, all men-at-arms. All low tier. Yeah, you know what? We will start the next episode, then, with an assault on the palace itself. We'll go straight in, take the settlement, and then we can deal with the remnants here before we swing back up in order to go after Ark and the Black. That is the plan. So, let's end here now, guys. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you do join me next time for some more Warhammer. But until then, everybody, take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now.